Welcome to our 4th episode of this summer series. Berg is famous for its leopard sightings. We had watched lots of videos before we had come through to Kruger this trip, and we wanted to learn what we could in terms of how to find leopard, just as we've tried to do with honey badger.
This is our first leopard in many years, so what a treat this is. Been pouring down with rain the whole night, and about 10 k's down the road we came across this guy.
We've not seen them as often. Interestingly enough, some of our best leopard sightings happened right at the beginning of our journey into visiting the bush and Kruger. In fact, it was our very first trip where we got some of our best ever photos of a leopard in the Kruger. Unfortunately, we've never had an experience like that again, and we had hoped that this trip would break that trend and that we would get to see and experience leopard in the wild with a relatively easy and photographic sighting. So we were very excited when we drove out, as always, bright and early from Berg and decided to do the road straight towards the main road from Berg to Malalaan. And we saw a car on the side of the road, and I remember whispering to Jay, "Oh, please be a leopard." And it was. Just off the road, in the bushes on the left, was a leopard grooming itself in the early morning in some thick grass. What was especially lovely is the fact that there was only one other car there with us, and they were super friendly. We enjoyed the sighting in the quiet and the peace of the morning before all the Kruger crowds rush in. I think we got to spend about a half an hour with the leopard, and soon as it became a lot busier, we decided to carry on, hoping that he will get up or do something more interesting. A bit later, we thought we would find our way back. Unfortunately, we never got to see this leopard again, and we did try, but if they don't want to be seen, they could be right behind a tree and you will not know it. When we checked our weather app at Crocodile Bridge before we moved on to Berg, we saw that it was going to rain a lot while we were at Berg for those 3 nights. And although it did rain, it didn't really rain a lot. We had chatted to our neighbours who said it had rained before we arrived and that there was a bit of a flash flood, and they showed us the path in which the water had run, and we could see that the previous campers had already dug a trench in the sand to guide the water away from the campsite. We are also very well aware that any bush holiday in Kruger or the Kalahari come with surprising flash floods that can swoop in and out very quickly. So to always be better prepared, we've learned to lift up all our ground sheets the afternoon before we leave a campsite, and this we did that day. We also packed away our fridge and electrical equipment and all the little things that often take time. We just decided it'll be far better if we spent the boring part of the afternoon just tidying up and getting ready for the next stage of our holiday the next day. But what I still think is crazy wild is that we had the most beautiful afternoon, as you can see from our footage, lighting a fire, enjoying the campsite in the late afternoon, only to have a crazy storm pass through out of the blue, from beautiful to flooding in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, so we've just been hit by a monstrous storm, completely unexpected. I think one of our videos in the past is great that something happened, but we were completely unprepared for this. Check this out. So luckily we lifted our ground sheets before. I don't know what made us do this, but and then we then we dug some channels just to make sure that the water flow doesn't flow into our tent. There were a couple of hiccups, but yeah, here we go. There's another spill. But that is, and there is my fire. She is dead, completely dead. But anyway, that's all part of the fun in what we do and what we enjoy. So yeah, let's can the braai and have a fry.
And just like that, the storm has passed. Everything is wet, but the worst is over. There's no more rain. And here we are going for round 2. We just did the dishes, everything's packed away, so luckily we're quite organised. A very frequent question that's asked, probably mostly of me more than my husband, is why on earth we do this for our holidays. And I think they ask me as the wife, assuming that this is something that generally men tend to want to do more. I can't say enough that there is no time I feel more alive than when we're in the bush. You know, I've said the same in a video when we were in the Kalahari, and as hard and as difficult and challenging as sometimes these trips become, I do feel so alive, and by the time we come home, we are just buzzing with excitement and joy. These trips have such a capacity to humble you, but also to make you feel so full and alive, something that we've never really experienced anywhere else. Now looking back, it seems ludicrous that we haven't been to Berg before this trip. We've been going to the Kruger for a very long time, and for some reason it was just never on our radar, and we went there knowing that it would be good, but not expecting it to be as great as it was as a rest camp. And quite honestly, I can't imagine not going to Berg every time we visit the Kruger from here on out. It was a wonderful, wonderful rest camp. I do apologize for not getting much footage within the rest camp, but we were just really busy enjoying ourselves, I suppose. So after 3 fabulous nights at Berg, we made our way up to Tamboti Rest Camp, which is near the Open Gate. We knew it would be a long drive, so we decided to take it slow, and we left early in the morning. Because we had packed up mostly the day before, it was really quite easy to close up. And despite having a wet tent, we weren't too worried about the tent. We knew we'd be opening it up soon anyway. Near the Pretorius Kop turn-off coming from Berg, on the top of a hill, we did see a group of cars, and we're very happy to find out that there was a leopard in the top of a tree, which, despite the number of cars there, we could mostly all see because it was high up in a tree on a branch. This dear leopard, however, was very relaxed and sleepy as it was mid-morning, and we only got some really simple shots of him lying in the tree. Not the best photographs. Our drive up, we decided to go via Kruger and then up to Tamboti. We stayed on the main roads, and we knew that in Kruger, one of the bridges between Leopard and Kruger had been damaged from the heavy rains prior to our arrival, and they had made a makeshift bridge that we were able to cross. Fortunately, the other roads were open. The low bridges were not, but the other bridges, the high bridges, were open at that time, so we were able to cross over. We would spend the next night at Tamboti Tented Camp, and thereafter going up to Shingwedzi and coming back down to Satara. So we were halfway through our trip at this point. If you enjoyed our video, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel, and also give us feedback. Tell us what you enjoy or what you would like us to talk about more. We love hearing from you, so thank you to those who regularly comment on our videos. Until the next time, take care.